Okay, we are recording.
Welcome to Two Crazy Scoops Podcast with your hosts Ao and Antino. This week we have our special guest, Travis Hall, the king of comedy. He's going to talk to us about pranks, board games, and a little bit about Star Wars. So let's introduce him here.
I don't know if I'd say I'm the king.
The jester of comedy.
So, the
Aaron,
jack of comedy.
The jack of comedy. How you doing, Aaron?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good. It's kind of funny because, like, when we don't have the intro music, it kind of is a little more, less flamboyant. I don't know.
We're all just sitting here in silence, yeah.
Yeah, in our rooms, pretending we're
actually together.
High five, everybody. So, Travis, I have known you since I was 14 years old.
Yeah.
And I remember that because I told you I'm 14, I'm about to turn 15, and you told me, at what age do we stop saying that? I was like, saying what? Well, I'm this age, and I'm about to turn that age. Well, I am 26 or 27, and I still tell people I was 26. I'm going to be 27 soon.
You know, my first memory of meeting you was we were driving together, and I was like, what kind of video games do you like playing? And you're like, I like playing Smash Brothers. And I was like, really? You have that at your house? And you're like, yeah. And I was like, let's go to your house and play it. we come in the door. I'm like a 30-year-old man. I come in the door with you. It's like, Travis is here to play Smash Brothers with me, Mom. Your mom was like, oh, okay. I almost beat you with King DDD. And I'll never forget the look on your face when it got close. You were like, I cannot let him beat me with King DDD.
In my own house.
In my own house, in front of my mom.
In front of my mom. Yeah, good times. So this is Aaron, and you guys have not met before. But Aaron is from Detroit, and you're from Omaha, which are both cold places.
Sometimes, yeah.
Let me see. So I wanted to talk to you today. We're going to have you on because of, like, Aaron likes to watch prank videos.
I do.
Which is the one that you watch all the time? There's like this TV show.
Is that the three guys that make each other do things?
You talking about Impractical Jokers?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, I love Impractical Jokers. Yeah. I don't know what to say about it.
So, Aaron, have you done a lot of pranks yourself?
Not really, no. I have not done a lot of pranks myself. In fact, I've never been much of a prankster myself, but if someone around me is setting up a good prank, then I will, depending on the situation, I will
happily oblige.
I will lend some tacit support to it.
Which now it's super hard to prank people because all you can do is prank call them.
Right.
You're like, hey, this is your doctor. You got the virus. And then it's not funny because, Anyways.
I guess what I will say about this, I've pulled a number of pranks in my life. I have not played a prank on somebody in a long time. And the thing that I learned about it is that some people can be pranked and some people cannot. And I guess I'll mention this at the beginning. Antonio was actually with me once when I pranked somebody.
And I've been pranked as well by Travis.
I don't remember that.
There's a gas station that I drive by regularly, and I tell Anna, I'm like, Travis once moved a bunch of sodas in front of the bathroom door, so I couldn't get out.
Oh.
And I had to push my way out of it.
Okay, I remember that now. Yeah, that was my bathroom trapping phase. A friend of mine went into a porta potty, and I drove my truck right up to the door so that he couldn't get out.
Oh, wow.
He was not amused by that. But I will say that there are two pranks that if you're gonna prank somebody, the best person to prank is a person that will give you the reaction that you want. So a person that gets angry, that's not the reaction you're looking for. You want a person that's a reactionary person. but a person that also can laugh at themselves. If the person cannot laugh at themselves, do not prank them. It's not going to be funny. It's not going to turn out well.
Agreed.
Yeah. So I have a friend. Her name's Tracy. And Tracy, if you're listening to this, I love you. Thanks for letting me prank you all those years. And she was like my go-to target. And Tracy can laugh at herself, and her reactions are perfect. They're so perfect. They're so sweet. And it's funny that these people, sometimes they don't realize if they just stopped reacting, you would not prank them anymore. But the best the first time I pranked her. So Tracy lived in a trailer, and she did not lock her door ever. She just did not lock her door. So I would regularly, if I was in town, in that part of town, and I knew she wasn't home, I would go and take a dump in her bathroom. Like I would just, and like I wouldn't flush it. I would just be like, I'm gonna do this. But,
wow. Wow.
But this one time, my mom was with me, and Tracy was with some of our friends, and she thought I was with somebody else. She didn't realize that we were there. It wasn't planned that way. It just was like I was in this neighborhood, and I shouldn't have been for whatever reason. And I said to my mom, I was like, hey, we should go prank Tracy. So it's just like Aaron. My mom is like Aaron. She's like, oh, yeah, let's do that. So we went into her house, and the door's open. So we went into her house. We're just kind of looking around. I'm just like trying to think of something. And I find this package of sugar cookies. And I'm like, okay, let's hide these sugar cookies all over the house, like in every place that we can think of. So we're putting sugar cookies in the toaster and in the sewing box and in the microwave and just like all these little places. And I throw back the covers of her bed, and I crumple up a cookie, and I spread the crumbs in her bed, and I put the sheet back. And so cookies hidden all over her house. So by itself, it's kind of a lame prank. It's just like, there's cookies. But the thing is, Tracy was having company that weekend, and her mom and her dad, Mike, and her sister, Susan, were visiting from Omaha, and they were staying with her. And so they get home, and they start to settle in, and they start finding these cookies. And they're like, why are these cookies here? And they didn't think of me because I was supposed to be at this other place. So they immediately, the neighborhood they live in is not a really good neighborhood. So immediately,
it's next to the halfway house.
Yes, they think that a crackhead broke into their house and ate a bunch of cookies. and when they open the covers and discover all of the crumbs in the bed, they flip out. And they're terrified, and they're sure that the crackhead is going to come back. So they all had to go stay at a hotel.
Wow. They didn't find out until when?
So the next day, I called Tracy, and I was like, I didn't know she was at a hotel. I was just like, I called Tracy, and I was like, hey, how you doing? And she's like, And I was like, you shouldn't eat cookies in bed. And she was like,
wow.
So it was like this wonderful explosion of happenstance things that created like absolute chaos just from some cookies.
I'm pretty sure that's going to be the title of this episode is You Shouldn't Eat Cookies in Bed.
Don't eat cookies in bed. That's a good one.
So that was pretty good. It's funny, she didn't start locking her door after that. Like, I was just like, what? What does it take? So a few months later, I go over her house. She's not home. I look in, and I always look in the fridge. I'm just like, what's in the fridge? I want to see if there's something to eat. There is a rotten cucumber in her fridge. So I take the rotten cucumber and I put it in her bed. And evidently, this is what happened. She gets home and gets ready for bed, turns off the light, and crawls into bed, and then feels the cucumber.
No.
She said she freaked out. She screamed, she jumped out of the bed, and it was like, turned on the, I don't know if she thought it was a snake or something, but I mean, I got a call at like 1 a.m. So that was those are the two best pranks I ever pulled on Tracy, and she got me back with a prank I don't think I can describe. Yeah, you'd probably have to edit it, so I'll
Well, I'll say that there are some pranks that got me in trouble that you guys did on her.
I don't remember that.
Someone messaged her something, and then you told me what it was, and then my dad asked me if I did it, and I was like, no, because the person was saying I did it.
Wow.
And then he was like, how did you know what they said? I was like, because Travis told me.
I got you in trouble so much. It was.
I got myself in trouble.
Oh,
so it's all good.
Yeah. It was. But anyway, those are my two prank stories. I haven't been involved in a prank in a long time, and if somebody was like, "Let's prank somebody," at this point in my life, I'd be like, "Nah, I'm good."
That's good to know.
I like being calm and happy and not in trouble.
Not having people call you at 1 a.m. screaming at you.
Yep.
Is there another funny story that you can relate? I think you said you had like.
Okay, well, I had a funny story I was going to save till the end because I thought we were.
Oh, wait, we'll save it to the end then.
I can, yeah.
We'll save it for the end. The best for last.
You might want to change the name of the episode after I tell this story. So.
Oh, okay. Eat cookies in bed. That's what it's going to be called. So, Travis, another thing I know about you is board games. When I started hanging out with you, that was the only time I had actually played something besides Monopoly. And I was very confused by many of the rules.
What did we play?
We played like Settlers of Catan. We played Puerto Rico or something like that. Yeah. We played this other one where it was a 2-player board game, which I'd never heard of, and I cut my finger trying to set it up with you. Because you gave me like an X-Acto knife, and I just went straight through my thumb.
Yes.
Like, oh!
That was Space Hulk. Yeah.
Space Hulk. I just remember standing through my hand bleeding, being like, why did I do this? Why did I take an X-Acto knife? What was the point?
I remember that.
We played Mafia. You're the one who taught us Mafia.
Yeah, that's
which
right.
We play out with Aaron a lot.
Oh, yeah. I like Mafia.
Aaron,
that's a good game with a lot of people.
Have you guys played Secret Hitler?
No.
Mm-mm.
We've played Obvious Hitler, though. That's a different game, but...
Secret Hitler is a little bit like Mafia.
Wait. You have the cards, and one of you actually is Hitler, right?
Yeah. So I played it with this group. There's this a good friend of mine here in Omaha. He has a son, and this kid cannot tell a lie. He's so innocent. And the way Secret Hitler works is there's what is it? It's what is the party that Hitler was associated with? Fascists. That's it. Okay. There's the fascists and the
non-fascists.
The liberals. Oh. That's what it is. So the way that it's working is the fascists are trying to get Hitler appointed as chancellor. And they're also trying to pass fascist laws, which make the government stronger. And so it's a lot of voting and like kind of lying. And so at one point in the game, if a fascist law is passed, whoever is president can look at somebody's alignment. They can look at it and be like, okay, this person is this. And then they can say whatever they want about it. So this girl was going to do that, and his kid, his name is Griffin, and Griffin was a liberal. So the girl that was the president was a fascist, and I was a fascist, and she was going to look at Griffin's card, and I was like, hey, when you look at his card, tell everybody he's a fascist. And she's like, oh, okay. So she looks at his card, she sends it back, and everybody's like, what is he? And she goes, he's a fascist. And Griffin went like this. Ha ha ha! What? And he picked his cards up to look at them again. And then he turns to me and he goes, can she do that?
I just remember whenever I'd play games, like, you kind of got tired of it because I would just sabotage everyone.
Oh, yeah. So, Aaron, have you played board games with Antonio?
I think the only thing we played was
Monopoly.
Monopoly, I think.
Well, Antonio has a strategy in every game, and it's called kill himself while killing you at the same time.
Okay. Kind of like how he plays Smash Brothers, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's when you grab the guy, and instead of throwing him, you just jump off the cliff.
Right, yeah. Yeah. That sounds about right.
So yeah, that was Antonio's favorite
strategy. Because I was like, I can't win, so I got to take at least a couple people down with me if possible.
The people we know here still talk about you with that game we played. So Antonio came to Omaha with me, and we got a bunch of friends together. We played the board game, and Antonio, right off the bat, had it out for this one guy. His name was Scott. And he goes, how can I stab Scott in the back? And Scott was like, why me? And Antonio was like, I don't know. I just want to do it. He spent the rest of the game just destroying his own forces to kill Scott. And it was like, Scott was so angry.
I still play games like that. So
yeah.
I'm looking forward to playing another board game with you sometime.
Okay, I'm going to change all my recommendations then. There.
We were like, yeah. So right now, obviously, I hate talking about everyone being sheltered in place or something like that to that effect. But during this time is a good time to play board games because right now, me and Anna have just been playing Sequence like over and over again, and I still
that sounds
lose.
Awful.
You know.
I don't
playing Sequence. Listen to
it's okay. Records. Sequence is all right, but
with two people though, it's kind of
well. So there's a lot of things you can do. I guess I would say this. So, Aaron, you live alone?
I know I have a roommate.
Okay, so if a person lives alone, there's a new kind of thing that's real popular right now. It's print and play solitaire board games. So they're free. And basically, it's a board game you can play by yourself. And if you basically just type in Google print and play solitaire board games, there's like hundreds of them. You should look up the reviews for them to like kind of sift through them. But pretty much any kind of board game you like, there's a version of it you can play by yourself. And with the print and play, it's free. So That's what I would suggest if you live alone. 2 players is kind of an there's a couple ways to go with that, and it kind of depends on if your wife likes nerd games or not. How cool is your wife? I guess the question is.
She's open-minded to playing like different board games and stuff.
Okay.
Good answer, Antonio. Good answer.
Help, Travis. I'm stuck.
It kind of also depends on how much time you have. If you guys are home, like, and you have nothing to do, look for large periods of time. My biggest suggestion would be Euro games. So Euro games are they're not real aggressive towards each other. And the reason I suggest that is because if you're just home alone with your wife and you're playing a real backstabby game, that's a good way to ruin your day. So playing a game that's not real competitive is a good way to go. So the one that I would suggest is called Caverna, and it's like a game where you are a cave farmer. Both of you have your own farm, and you're kind of building it. It's a worker placement game. It's a sequel to a game called Agricola. The designer's called Uwe Rosenberg. So Uwe Rosenberg, all of his games are very good. They're all kind of about shepherding or farming or building communities, things like that. They're relaxing, but there's a lot of strategy. And they like Agricola, Eleanor and I played it over and over and over again. And it's a satisfying game to play. So that's what I would say for 2 players. If you have more than 2 people, there's a couple options that are really, really awesome. So I'd say, do you guys like escape rooms?
Yeah.
I've never done one, but
You've never done an escape room?
I lost
Wow.
my keys one time and I couldn't get in my house. I don't know if that's the same thing, but
That's the opposite of an escape room. But yeah, so escape rooms are real popular, and they've made some board games that kind of mimic how they work. And there's a lot of different kinds. My favorite one though is called Unlock. And my family and I have played a number of those. Now the problem is that once you play it once, you don't get to play it again. But we just give it to somebody else. It's like one game is $10, and it takes the 4 of us about an hour to an hour and a half to play it.
is it like the one where you had to, or this is a different one where you had instructions and you have to like dismantle a bomb or something?
Okay,
No.
that's called Keep Talking and No One Explodes.
Oh,
That's a video game.
That's a fun one too.
Yeah, that is a fun game. So I would suggest the Unlock games. It's a good time there. The other thing that is kind of new-ish and really fun are legacy games. So a legacy game is basically where they take a board game and they create a campaign for it. And often when you're done with the campaign, you throw the game away. So a good example of probably the best one is Pandemic Legacy. I don't know if you played Pandemic.
I haven't, no.
No. So Pandemic is a cooperative game for 4 players, up to 4 people, where you're trying to cure a virus.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, and it's spreading everywhere. And killing everybody.
What a way to escape from this. It's a good time for
Wait,
escapism.
that reminds me. I think I played that before, but I thought it was the other way around. Maybe I'm thinking of a different game because there's one game where you actually create the.
That's also a video game.
But you create it, and your goal is.
I don't remember what the name of that is. I've played that one. No, in this one, you're like a medic or an engineer or something like that, and you have so many actions every turn, and you're kind of working together. The legacy version of it is really awesome because everything that happens in each game carries over to the next game. And the next game will have new mechanics. So it'll be like, hey, this virus has mutated, and now it does this, and it just keeps rolling. And then, so it's kind of an experience. And there's a Risk legacy. There's a number of legacy games. But it's kind of a neat thing because it's kind of just like something you work your way through.
Mm-hmm.
Great experience for 4 people. It's hard to get 4 people to commit to something that don't live in the same house. So, if it's the 2 of you and you have 2 other friends and you have to meet to play this game, that's the hard thing about legacy games. It's just like, we got to play this every week. And, if one person's like, I don't want to play it anymore, it kind of ruins the experience. But if they're captive in the same house as you are,
there you go.
They have no choice but to play this game with you.
Like before we eat dinner, we have to play this game.
Yeah. You had mentioned games that can be played over Zoom.
Yeah, like right now, I think Jackbox TV is the only one that we've been kind of doing.
Hands down, the best thing there is. There's a number of YouTube channels kind of dedicated to you can do this, and honestly, playing a board game over Zoom is a little awkward. They do have things like Board Game Arena or Tabletopia or Tabletop Simulator. Those are all, computer games that kind of use physics or things like that to emulate a board game. Honestly, all of those apps are kind of janky. They crash all the time. It's just like, things get stuck in the table. It's not my cup of tea. So I stick to Jackbox. It's some of those games can be played with 10 or 15 people. You can get quite a party going.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Especially some of the responses. Like sometimes you have someone who's pretty like conservative, I guess you could say.
Oh yeah.
And then they like there's like the most weirdest answer in there, and so everyone chooses it, and it's like the quiet person in the group. You're like, what the heck?
Yeah, we've had a lot of fun with that stuff. There's
Yeah.
one. My favorite one right now is Drawful, where it's like Pictionary meets Balderdash. So somebody draws a picture of something, and then everybody else makes up what they think it is, and then everybody has to guess what the right thing is.
Oh.
Yeah, it's
Did you
on
ever-
the
oh.
first one, I think.
Yeah, because we played one where it's like you have to design a T-shirt. Have you done that one?
Yeah. I've I think that's 4, Jackbox 4. Yeah, I didn't like that one so much.
We got some crazy ones. I don't
we
know.
always get. I don't like that game either, but we always get really good T-shirts. I wonder if I could actually
because one of the guys kept spelling stuff wrong, so it just made it funnier. I don't know.
That same pack,
I might be able to find some old shirts that we did.
Yeah, that same pack has a game where you have to come up with something funny. What is that called? Like 2 people will get the same prompt, and then
you write an answer into it.
Yeah, and then everybody has to guess which one's the funniest one.
Quiplash.
Yeah, that's the one that I'm talking about. That everyone has the weird responses to.
Yeah. I mean, if you get somebody who has a really good sense of humor, man, you can have a really good time with that game.
I love playing it.
Yeah,
it gets my creative juices flowing, as I would like to say. Have you played House Party at all?
No. Is that
It's
what is
not
that?
that great. It's like an app, but it like takes all your information from what I read. So
okay.
And then it like goes off. Like you can, if you open the app, it'll send everyone notifications that you've joined, and it like invites them to whatever party you started. So like I joined one. I was like, oh hey. I was like, did you invite me? He's like, no, that's just what the app does. And I was like, okay, see you later. Super awkward.
All my friends down here got together a game of this. It's like a submarine game on your phone where you fight each other, and it takes days and days and days. And I like super stabbed somebody in the back, and he was really mad about it because he agreed. We made an agreement, and then I stabbed him in the back, and then I like went to a board game night, and he was there, and we had never met. And so we met, and we were just like, okay. And then the other friend goes, he's the guy that blah, blah, blah. And he was like, and the look on his face, it was like, it was murder. He was going to murder me.
Oh, man.
It's like, thanks, man. Okay.
That's great.
I'll leave now.
And so
that's about all I have. That's all about all I have for board games. I've kind of started playing shorter games. You know, back when I was in my 20s, I wanted to play a game that took all day. I don't have the attention span for it anymore. And you know, nobody I know wants to play a board game all day long.
Yeah.
So finding, you know, quick, easy things. So I will just say that the resource I use to find board games, other than BoardGameGeek.com, which is like the best resource, is a website called Shut Up and Sit Down. And it's these European guys that that review board games, and they're really funny. But they have really good reviews, and a lot of things that I've found that I enjoy. I got from those guys.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, because I don't really know a resource as to how to look for that stuff either. So that's
they have a YouTube channel. Some of their reviews are pretty funny, so check it out.
Yeah. And then for our final subject, we're going to revisit. Well, before your epic story, we're going to revisit Star Wars, which, as I've said,
I never said the story was epic.
It's the best story we've ever had on Two Crazy Scoops podcast. It'll make you stop and think after you listen to it. You have to put your headphones down, and you'll just look out the window for a good 15 minutes.
I want you to remember what you just said after I tell the
story. A tear will roll down your eye, and a smile will come to your face.
Oh.
So, Travis, you're a big Star, or I don't know. Are you a big Star Wars fan?
You know what? I was. I grew up with Star Wars. I'm 44 years old. I saw Star Wars over and over again as a kid. I never really wanted more Star Wars, especially after what was it, episode 1, 2, and 3? Is that what they call it?
Yeah,
Mhm.
the prequels.
Yeah, I wasn't too happy with those. But when they came out with the first one, I don't even remember what it was called.
Phantom Menace.
No. The
So you
first
talking
newer
about the
one.
original? Oh, you talking about The Force Awakens? So you talking about
That's
episode
what it is.
7?
The Force. So I saw The Force Awakens, and I was like, this is very similar to A New Hope.
Mhm.
Very, very similar. And that didn't bother me because I was just like, everybody liked A New Hope, and this is kind of like, it's not really a reboot, but it's like they know what made that movie great, and they're copying it.
Yeah.
And it didn't bother me that much because I mean, Star Wars copies itself anyway. I mean, when you watch Return of the Jedi and it's like, what's the big bad thing is the Death Star 2. It's just like, well, another Death Star? Where are they getting all this money? But
They're cloning the money.
Yeah. So that's funny. So it didn't bother me. I thought it was fun. So I went to the next one. What is the next one called? The second one?
The Last Jedi.
The Last Jedi. I almost walked out. It was okay. So I got this sense when I was watching it. So and I'm going to kind of tell an analogy because I don't not really know how to explain how I felt about this. But when I was in grade school, the cafeteria, I ate lunch at the cafeteria, and the cafeteria food was really good from a kid's perspective.
Mm-hmm.
As an adult now, it's probably crap, but back then, their pizza was like the greatest thing in the entire world to me.
Ugh.
I was just like, I want to eat this pizza every single day.
I remember.
I was the same. I did have pizza every day in school.
Yeah, it was just like it was. We didn't have it every day. It was just like it was like every other week or something like this. And when they had it, it was just like it made my day. It was the greatest thing ever. And it's funny because to this day, when I encounter pizza that's similar to that, it gives me a good feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the kind of thing about nostalgia is that nostalgia helps you remember the way you felt at another time.
Yeah.
And imagine if somebody got a hold of that. If somebody realized, hey, he really likes school lunch pizza. And they were like, guess what? We're bringing back school lunch pizza. And you can have it again. You can have it whenever you want. But we're also going to have school lunch boxes and school lunch backpacks and school lunch notebooks and school lunch action figures. And we're going to make a school lunch movie, and there's going to be a school lunch TV show, and every place you go, you're going to see the pizza that you loved.
Because you loved it that much.
You go. And we're going to put it in a conveyor belt and roll it out, and we're going to bury you in the pizza that you loved. That's how I felt. That's how I felt watching this. And the thing is that we all grew up on Star Wars, and we loved it. It was good storytelling. It was for the most part. The thing is I like the way that I don't know if you've ever seen a review by Red Letter Media.
No,
but the guys from Red Letter Media reviewed Star Wars, and one of the guys said something I appreciated. He goes, "Star Wars now is a bankrupt. It's creatively bankrupt. They have no new ideas. They're not making anything new."
Yeah.
And that's kind of the thing is that it really would have been better if either they had just made something new and been like, this is kind of in the Star Wars universe, or they had just took Timothy Zahn's series and been like, we're going to take Timothy Zahn's Heir to the Empire, and we're just going to make that. Everybody loved that.
Yeah.
So, they could have done that and got away with it, and it would have been fine. But the thing is that, Disney got a hold of this thing that they knew everybody loved, and they're like, everybody loves this. So we're going to strap pumps on its teats, and we're going to suck it dry, and you're going to drink it, and you're going to like it. And that's how I felt when I was watching it. And
pretty much.
Yeah. And when I was watching Jeez, what is the second? The Last
Last
Jedi. When I was
Jedi.
watching Last Jedi, I felt like I was being pandered to, and I felt like it was just I was not entertained at all. And yeah, so after that movie, I was like, I'm done. I'm never watching another one of these things. This is really retarded. And I did not watch the Han Solo movie. I still haven't watched it.
Aaron hasn't seen it.
I haven't either. Yeah.
And I wasn't going to watch the latest one. The last no. What's the last
Rise of Skywalker.
Rise of Skywalker. See, I can't even remember what it's called. I wasn't going to watch it. But I have this friend that is like my movie buddy here. And we go see movies. And he loves seeing movies. And he was just like, I want to go see the new Star Wars. And I was like, oh, God. It's funny because I put my foot down about the Call of the Wild. He's like, I want to go see the Call of the Wild. And I was like, no. I was like, the dog is a cartoon.
Wait.
I was like, it is a cartoon dog.
That was a good movie. I actually saw that.
Boo.
And it was a good
Yes.
movie. It
Boo.
was
But all the other movies
No, it had Harrison Ford in it, for one.
Have you seen
Okay,
videos of what
so
the
did
guy
Star
looks like
Wars.
pretending as the dog, playing as the dog?
Yeah, the original trilogy, yes.
Okay, but it's just like, it's a cartoon. He's talking.
It's very good. It's a
The Call
nice,
of the Wild
family-friendly movie.
Has been done.
You will go see
before.
it.
You
You
will
will.
like it. And that's our next episode with you is going to be a review of that movie.
So I put my foot down. I was like, Dan, I can't do it. I can't go see that. But so he wanted to see Star Wars, and I was just like, oh, okay, I'll go see it. And I felt like I was being waterboarded the whole movie. And it's funny because as soon as the movie was over, I turned to Dan and I was like, man, I'm exhausted. Dan was like, me too. I have to say this one thing about that movie though. When Emperor Palpatine electrocuted all the ships in the entire space sky, I like burst out laughing.
Yeah.
I mean, he basically force lightninged all the starships. It's like, what is this guy plugged into? I was just like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
Well,
So I guess that's my take on it. Is it's bad. It's not good.
I have
People
to
should
say,
not see it.
I rewatched it again, and if you detach yourself from all the storyline and pretend it's not a Star Wars movie, it's
If
like
you
a Star
sleep
Wars.
through it, it's good.
It's like a Star Wars fan fiction. I just pretend that some 7-year-old kid wrote it.
Well,
Hey,
so here's the
He
thing.
gets all his lightning, and he blows up the ships, and then he comes back, and then they kill him.
Yes,
hey,
that is
just
it.
one quick thing that's kind of funny about the whole Force Lightning thing, since you brought it up. You know, it was funny to me at least. He's been royally. Wait, I don't know if I can say.
I know exactly where you're going with this.
Right.
It has not gone well for Emperor Palpatine.
In the past. He used Force Lightning in episode 3 when Mace Windu, he was that battle. He used it, it did not work.
Melted
it
his
deflected
face,
it
yep.
and melted his face. Then he used it against Luke, and that didn't go well because Emperor, Vader picked
Yep.
him up and threw him down the shaft. It didn't work. So to me, the lesson should be, I have other powers, let me use those instead. But no, he resorts to it again, a third time.
Yeah.
And then she reflects it back at him, which he knew the lightsaber could do that because it happened before. He knew that, and he just decided to do it. So looking at it from a story perspective, that was just stupid. They could have come up with something better.
Well, I guess what I'll say is this, is that the new Star Wars movies actually is just a reflection of what's going on generally in the movie industry anyway. So when you think about the current Star Wars movies, the current Star Trek movies, all these movies is just one action set after another.
Yeah.
They're moving from one action thing to another. It's all action.
Uh-huh.
Right.
But if you look at A New Hope, there's one lightsaber fight in it. And how crazy is it? Is there jumping around? Is there spinning?
Yeah.
It's really slow.
Uh-huh.
There's not like a whole bunch of that. And there's some running and shooting and stuff like that, but most of it is character development. When you look at Star Trek, The Next Generation, how much action are in those episodes? Like a little bit, Worf gets beat up by somebody like every third episode, maybe.
But you are dealing with you got to look at the audience too, because you're dealing with a generation of people who don't have as big of an attention span. And so you have to include more action for this younger generation. It's not like you can have a long, well, you can, but it's harder.
Yeah, but it started off as like a cinematic movie and it moved into jumping around.
Are you saying that people with shorter attention spans are not interested in storytelling, storytelling?
What I'm saying is the younger generation, especially, they've been bombarded with all of these movies that are just action, and not with not as much deep story development, and so they are used to it now. Like, and let me give you a good example. I tried showing
Call of the Wild to it.
No, I tried showing to one of my friends who's in his mid-20s, right? I tried showing him The Fugitive, the Harrison Ford version. And he had a hard time understanding the movie because the movie is an excellent movie, but there's a lot of details, there's a lot of plot that you have to really pay attention to the movie. You can't be zoning out and everything. You have to really pay attention to what's going on, because at the very end of the movie, everything gets wrapped up. And if you're not paying attention, or you kind of glance off at your phone or something, whatever, you're not going to understand what's going on. But the movie holds your attention with the story and the details. It's not action.
Yeah, if you could have made a Star Wars movie then, like today, what do you think would the content be of it?
Well, we saw it. We just saw it.
Yeah, that was it.
That was it. And that's why so many people hated it.
I guess what I'm looking for is just a good movie.
Uh-huh.
And nostalgia is okay as a spice, but you don't want to bite into just nostalgia for its own sake. It's kind of like, it's the reason I quit watching Doctor Who, because it's like Doctor Who had some really, really good episodes. You ever seen Blink?
That's funny because we just recorded a podcast last Friday about Doctor Who.
Okay,
and how bad it got.
Yeah, so it's when it's just telling a good story, it's great.
Mm-hmm.
But when it's trying to be self-referential, it's bad.
Yeah.
Because all it's doing is being like, hey, remember when we did this? That was funny. I don't like that. That's not a story. That's just you being like, remember when we did this? And it's just like, come on, that's lazy. It's lazy story.
Well, I mean, to be completely honest, me and Aaron are starting this at least like 5 years from now, if everything's still around, we'll still be able to have some nostalgia to kick back onto.
When you can't think of anything anymore?
Yeah. Hey, Aaron, remember that one time we joked about that one thing and everyone thought it was hilarious?
So that's my take on it. It just needs to go away.
We'll delete it off the internet.
Yeah.
And now, the moment you've all been waiting for.
I feel like I've played this up way too much. I was just like, I have a story, I'll tell it. He's like,
the greatest story you've ever heard.
Sure, I have a story. I'll tell you at the end. Now it's like the holy grail of stories. I like to say to all your listeners, this is not the holy grail of stories. So, this story is about something I did when I was 8 years old, and 8-year-olds can get up to all kinds of dickens. And I was a pretty rascally 8-year-old. In fact, I was kind of tough for my parents to raise, and they actually sent me to a farm for 2 weeks. So we had these friends that owned a farm, and they had 4 kids. One of them was younger than me, and then the other 3 were older than me. And they sent me there for 2 weeks. I don't know how they got them to do that, but I'm pretty sure I ate them out of house and home when I lived there. But I was pretty, I got into a lot of trouble as a kid, and I probably caused them a lot of hardship. But the one thing that I did when I was there, and I kind of chuckle about it when I think about it. So the younger kid, I think he was 7 and I was 8. I want to say his name was Joey. It might not be though. But So they had a lot of land, and we just kind of mess around all day. And they had this barn. It was way off on a hill, and we were messing around in the barn, and you could actually get on the roof of the barn. It wasn't like a normal barn where it's real steep. It was kind of not as pitched, and you could climb up a hill on the back, and you could get up on. So we're on the roof of this barn. Mm-hmm. I mean, if I saw my kids on the roof of a barn now, I don't know what I would do. But it's like, I'm 8 years old and I'm on the roof of a barn. So, you've probably had this happen before as a kid. When you're playing outside, you don't want the fun to stop.
Yeah.
And if you, how can I say this? Start to feel like you need to go number 2. You don't want to go because you don't want the fun to end. Right?
I think I know where this is going. And now
I'm going to have to trek all the way back to the house. It's going to take a long time, and we're having a fun time. And the fun may not be there when I get back. So, so I'm holding it in. So I'm holding it in, and pretty soon, it gets pretty I'm like, man, I got to go. So I get this idea. I'm just like, hey, what if I pooped off the roof?
What?
And Joey is like, okay. So I climb up the hill, and I climb up onto the roof, and I pull my pants down, and I hang my little 8-year-old butt over the peak of this barn. And I've been holding it for a while. So it is a really big poop. And so I don't get to see it, right? But he gets to see it. How I got him to agree to stand down there to see this, I don't know. I don't know what he was thinking. So I poop off the roof, and I pull my pants up, and I run down, and I want to see what I've created.
Oh my God.
Now this poop probably created like a 15-foot splat. Okay? It was like a crater. It was really wide. It was just like bam. Right in front of the door to the barn, too. So I get down there and I'm like, wow! And there's no evidence left that it had been a solid thing at this point. It's just a bam. And Joey goes, he's like, what am I gonna tell my parents when they see this? And I said, we'll just tell them Patches did it.
Wow. Oh my God.
Who's Patches?
Patches is the dog.
Wow.
And he, I swear, it's like it's like imprinted in my mind. His arms are out, like embracing the carnage, and he goes, "They'll never believe that Patches did that."
Oh wow.
This episode's been brought to you by Omaha Steak.
Oh my God.
So that's the story of how I pooped off a roof.
Okay, please don't think about that after the episode.
And
Don't look out your window.
Did they ever find out?
I don't know. To this day, I don't know.
You need to find out. This is important that you find out.
This is the perfect time to do it because everyone's inside. So the
Right.
call.
You know,
The time
honestly,
to confess.
I'm pretty sure they hated me by the time I left. So if after 30 years I call and I'm like, hey, do you remember me? And they'll be like, yes. And I'll be like, did you ever find the giant poop splat outside of your barn? That was me.
That is hilarious.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, it's still there.
It's
It's still,
It hasn't rained in 30 years.
I just, it's funny because
I amuse myself by imagining that getting found by them. Where did this come from? What is this? And if Joey told them what happened,
And he still has to live with that pain down to this day.
Travis
Oh
did
my
it.
God.
He pooped off the barn.
Oh,
Man.
So I have girls, so I don't have to put up with these kind of things myself. So,
Man.
well, that's my story.
Well, thanks for sharing it with us, I guess. I love how your background is like your hoard of toilet paper.
I know. I was looking at that.
It is-
I was
it is my
that's
hoard,
where-
yeah.
Are you like flexing on us or something?
Well, you never know when you need to poop off a barn. So
So the episode's now changed.
I told you.
Anyways, I don't know how to go after this.
I'm probably going to get some blowback from this.
Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
Oh man. Well, Travis, we're about to the end of our episode. Do you have a PSA to tell anybody?
Don't blame your stuff on the dog. You know, take responsibility for your own actions.
That's the only way you can truly grow as a person.
All right.
Just
So
own up.
Is that the name of the episode? Don't blame it on the dog.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Travis.
Thanks for
taking
having me.
Carving some time out of your day.
Yep. We had some good laughs. That was nice.
Yeah, man.
All right.
Are we doing an
Well-
outro or are we just
Huh?
stopping the recording? Are we doing an outro or are we just stopping the recording?
Oh, we can do an outro.
Okay. What am I supposed to do?
Awkward silence. This has been Two Crazy Scoots Podcast with your hosts, Ao and Tito, and special guest Travis. Next week, or in a couple minutes, or who even knows what time it is anymore, guys. Thanks for listening.